Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel and podcast. We are back with a reaction to the 2-2 draw against Leeds. I'm Scott. I'm your host for this one, and I'm joined this week by Kris and Iain. Boys, we'll jump straight into this one. Iain, we'll come to you first, mate. Eddie Howe announced one change in his starting 11, and that was Miggy Almiron coming in to replace Jacob Murphy. We did talk about this a little bit in the preview, but were you surprised by that at all, given the form that Murphy's been
in? Yes, and I was more surprised that he started Isak and Wilson again. We talked about that as well. I didn't think that it would be both. I thought we thought it would be one or the other. Murphy as well. I feel his run in the team. He's not like a world-class player, but you know what you get with him, and he is adding sort of assists and goals, and I think he has been on a good run of form. So I thought it was a little bit harsh on dropping him. And like I say, the other side, I wasn't expecting to see Isak and Wilson start together, if I was honest.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that, Kris, with Isak and Wilson, where they seem to be better as impact, where one's on and the other one comes on as a sub to help assist. Do you think it's working, this starting them both on the games, or do you think this isn't the time really to experiment for that, and we should really try our tried and trusted lineups?
Dick, I brought this up on the podcast on Monday, just gone, that it didn't work against Arsenal, but we should try it again. We tried it again against Leeds, and it didn't work for me either. And it takes you back, and this is something else which Dick I mentioned, that it's similar to what happened on this Pardew with CC and Bar. We're trying to fit both of them in, and yes, it may work in certain games, but once again against Leeds, it didn't. I think the commentator, it might be Janus that mentioned this before kickoff, and he said that he's not too sure on this because of the impact that one of them can have coming off the bench, rather than obviously both of them starting. Because if you don't start well in the game, then your chips are gone really on you. Yes, you've got the likes of Maxi and players like that can come on, but I don't know. I'm not convinced by it yet. I'm not writing it off yet, but I wouldn't try it again next week.
No. Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like if Longstaff's fit and Longstaff starts in the middle, you push Joelinton up on that left-hand side, and then it is one or the other. I don't think that you start them both if we have the players in the middle of the park that we're wish to do. I just think he's kind of got his hand forced a little bit. Yeah, you've got Maxi and you've got Gordon, who could probably fit in there as well, and they did inevitably come on towards the end of the game, but I don't know. I don't think either of them are maybe 100% fit to start a game yet, or he's saving them for what he probably thinks is a bigger game against Brighton in midweek. Obviously, game kicks off, and Kris, it was a bit stop-start to begin with. Leeds tried to interrupt our flow, made it very, very frustrating to watch. A lot of fouls going in.
Made it very obvious that they were trying to do that as well, mate. I think there was 2 fouls in the first couple of minutes, and it was just late challenges on the players. I wouldn't say yellow card challenges, not early on, but just like you said, purposely slowing the game down, because teams know how fast we can start games, and they know that they were probably trying to just rattle a little bit. This is what Sam Allardyce's teams do. Just leave that foot in, just that challenge a little bit too late, and take us off our game. I wouldn't say it worked in regards to taking us off our game. It worked in regards to slowing the play down massively, because we just couldn't throw 2 passes to game after that for the first 10-15 minutes. But we knew that was going to happen. We had to be a bit quicker on the ball, and I think at times in that first opening minutes of the game that we were just dawdling a little bit on the ball, especially the 2 Brazilian lads. They love dawdling on the ball, but we knew it was coming. I wasn't shocked by it, but yeah, it was one of them, Scott. I think, like I said, I wasn't really concerned about the challenges going in by Leeds early on. Obviously, we'll touch on what happened later on, and the referee losing a bit of control towards that though. But it is, honestly, if you're fighting for your life down there, you're going to be doing stuff like that. Of course you are. So there's no concern from me. Like we knew what was going to be.
Yeah, and there was an early penalty shout for us. I think it was Joelinton gets in the box, and it looks like he gets brought down. The angle that we see it on the telly is you can't really tell either way. There's a bit of commotion from the crowd, but there's no replay. So I don't know if even Voiven looked at that one, Iain. But right after that, 7 minutes in, probably the worst start you could ask for. Leeds get a goal. Ball comes in, and to be fair, there's two attackers, who could head that ball. They get the head on it, and Pope, to be fair to him, pulls off a good save. Maybe he should probably do a bit better with where he palms that to, but I think he's just trying to stop it going in the back of the net. And then you've got Ailing, who follows up with a rebound. Were you disappointed to concede that type of goal?
Massively. I think we talked about it as well on the preview, that it would have been similar to the Everton game, where if you sort of survive the first 15, 20 minutes, the crowd maybe starts getting a bit restless. They've got nothing to hold on to. And you've seen it later in the game when they were 2-1 down. There was like misplaced passes that they were like, the fans were starting to get annoyed. Yeah. And I felt if you had got through that first 15, 20 minutes, it would have been a completely different game. I think the goal comes from, when you look at it, I think Cher's a little bit out of position. And then Byrne is pushing Botman onto I think there's a player sort of on the far side of the box, and then that's why he has two. But Isak, then, if you watch, he's just ball watching. And I think, with as much as I love Isak, and I think he's a great player, that's one of the weaknesses I think that's in his game when he's out wide, or certainly a weakness of the team, where you see the likes of Joe Willock and Joe Linton, when they play out left, they have that defensive cover. Because that's been instilled in them, where I think Isak, because he's fairly new to playing out left, or certainly in this team, it's maybe he's neglected a little bit, that he's thinking, all right, I've got to come back and cover as well. I've seen a lot of people say that Pope should have done a lot better. I think he's done really well to save it. It almost looks like he's clawed it from behind him. And
he's scooping it. He's definitely scooping it off the line.
Which is where he doesn't get. I think he's at fairly full stretch as well, which is why he doesn't get the power on it to palm. And then after that, it's up to the defence to react. And there's, like you say, there's no one there. It's a very, very poor start, because then that gives them something to hang on to. There's then me and Dad were watching it, expected just for them just to sit and make it scrappy and put in those challenges that there had been in the first 15 minutes. But yeah, it was a disappointing start, I thought.
I think if we look at Isak as well, Scott, is that Isak does well in regards to, he does track his man up until that last point, when I think his positioning, his head's probably thinking, oh, Pope's got this, because it looked like he was going to get it, but obviously he doesn't realise, that the angle that came in, and Pope's had to scoop it back out. And it's at that point, when Pope's took the dive to get the ball, that's when Isak stops. But Ailing's just read that perfectly, and he's just run. He kind of missed from there. He really kind of, and that's the issue. Isak's probably thinking Pope's got it. He's probably thinking in his mind that we can get up the field really quick here of our break. It's probably a bit of both, and he's just on it. He just had a lapsed moment there. Well,
I mean, Isak's not a defensive player. He's a striker at the end of the day who's playing out wide. You'd like to think a more experienced winger who has these defensive tendencies, as Ian said, would probably pick that up and probably track the run. Can't really blame anyone for that. It's just one of those things where the right player in the right position would probably have tracked that a bit better. But
it's stopping the cross, Scott. It's stopping the cross.
That's what stopping it to begin with is the problem. Yeah, the fact the cross was able to come into the box.
Stop the cross and the ball doesn't get in the box. And I don't know how many times we'll have to look at that, and it's creeping in a lot more. Honestly, teams are getting a hell of a lot more chances by balls coming in from out wide.
Yeah, and then not too long after, they had a penalty shout. They've not a shout, they got a penalty, Chris. Again, breaking it in the box, and it's Joe Linton tracking the run. And from what I've seen, he sticks his leg out to try and get the ball and slips, and then him falling onto the player is what obviously gives away the penalty. And can't really have any complaints about the penalty. It's a Stonewall, really. But Patrick Bamford picks up the ball, and I'll let you describe what happens next.
So first of all, I think Joe Linton just takes a chance. I think that's what he tries. He tries to get his toe on the end of that and knock it out of play. And like you said, it's not really a tackle as such. It's not a sliding tackle at all. He stumbles like you said. And they just
a bit clumsy.
Yeah, of course it is. It happens. It's one of them. But yeah, luckily Nick Pope was there, and as much as it was a bad penalty, because it really was a perfect height for the goalkeeper. But Nick Pope's got to guess the right way. Obviously, he's probably done his homework before that. Bamford isn't the best of strikers, and I'm putting that nicely as well. I think that is his second penalty he's took this season, the second one he's missed.
Yeah.
So he's got a 100% record of missing penalties. But Nick Pope guesses the right way once again at full reach to get that one. Takes it down, so it's a two-handed save, and it's the follow-up which impresses me with Pope. He's so quick at gathering that ball and obviously doing what he needs to do because Bamford's piling in there. Of course he is. But yeah, Nick Pope does absolutely amazing. He really does, and this is why he's such a highly rated goalkeeper. Yes, he's had his moments of concerns this season. We'll see. Looking at that Liverpool game, but honestly, any player that's stepping up to take a penalty against Pope, just the stature of the man, honestly, he would put anybody off. And he's a great shot stopper, and he proved that on that penalty. Yeah,
there was a clip from the tune in training as well this week where they were showing Nick Pope.
He had a GoPro on, didn't he?
Yeah, he had the GoPro on as well, but there was another clip where he's getting balls just pelted at him, and he's really good at just stopping the shots. Like it's one of his strengths. I mean, I think we all know that from this season and from seasons past as well, where he's been in. But
Bamford never looked confident. Honestly, he's not a confident striker. He's well out of form. He's absolutely been stinking recently, and I'm saying recently he's been stinking for years, to be fair. And he just never looked confident taking that. I'm not sure what they're thinking letting him take that penalty.
I'm sure
he must be the penalty taker or the one who is out injured.
I'm sure BT said, like, why wouldn't you have Rodrigo on that? Because I don't watch Leeds enough to know, but I'm fairly certain he's took a few penalties for them, and he is a good goal scorer for them. But
was Rodrigo the one that got injured earlier? He done his shoulder earlier on the season. Is that him?
I think he's been out for a little bit. He's their top goal scorer, though.
He
scored. He went on a mint run at the start of the season, and he popped his shoulder, didn't he? And he was out for weeks. I'm sure that was the start of the season.
Possibly.
Well, not long after that, we have a penalty of our own, Ian. It's Isak breaking it in the box, and he's taken down, and it's a clear stonewall penalty for me. I don't think as a Leeds fan you'd have any complaints about that. Although we'll come on to one particular Leeds fan who maybe did have a couple of complaints about that later on. But he goes down, and are we surprised that Wilson took the penalty, given that Isak was the one who made it? Or do you think Wilson is the penalty taker?
I think
he takes it no matter what.
I think just Wilson's confidence in sort of listen. To be honest, listening to Kieran Trippier's podcast, sort of the week just gone, he's part of the leadership group, so I would expect him. He's more of like a senior figure than what Isak would. Mm-hmm. And Callum Wilson backs himself. He's a very, very confident player. Just touching on the penalty, to be honest, I thought not that it was lucky that we were given, but it was lucky that situation evolved. So I think Bruno's pass is a little bit, I think, overhit to what I initially thought it was. And I think if Junior Firpo doesn't slip, that doesn't happen. Yeah. With that happening, the centre half, I think it's Christensen, might have been, has to then react, and obviously it's Stonewall penalty. But with Wilson stepping up, I had absolutely no doubt about it that he would score. He's in great form. He's very, very confident, and he is a very, very good penalty taker as well.
I don't think it was Christian. I think it was the other one. I don't think it was Christian. I think it was the other one.
Wolber or whatever.
Was the other one?
He obviously panics when he sees Junior slips, and he panics, and he just tries to put his foot through the ball. And
well, similar to the challenge that Botman did on somebody the other week, where he just comes running in, tries to smash the ball
against Brentford.
Yeah, it was really similar. He just comes running in. You think all day long, he's got this, but absolutely just swings and misses.
But I think
he's got a foot to it beforehand. I think that's what it was.
I was going to say that.
That's before the player could swing.
That's what I like about having Isak in the team, is even though, in fairness, there's not a lot of room to run in behind the defence, he's still making those runs that put us in that position. And that's what I like about having him sort of either on the wing up, preferably up front, because he's able, even though the space isn't a great deal to get in behind, he's still presenting those opportunities for players to pass him beyond the defence.
Well, Callum Wilson does convert it for I think that was his 15th goal of the season, and he'll get another one later on, which we'll come to. He seems to be on fire at the moment. Half time comes, it's 1-1. It's not a bad performance from us, but it's one of those ones, Chris, where you think we need to be more clinical here. We need to be, taking these chances.
Scott, the lads look absolutely shattered, and I think it's been highlighted loads now. They look absolutely knackered, and you can tell that. towards the end of the first half. Obviously, the lads have got such engines on them, so it's highlighted even more us watching that, and they look knackered, and Bruno especially. We've said for the last couple of weeks now, something's not right, and now he's had back-to-back poor games. I wouldn't have been shocked to see Eddie Howe change things at half-time, but he didn't. I think I'm normally pretty confident going at half-time with a level and thinking we can turn this around. But that game, there's something about it. Honestly, I hated that game from the second it started to the second it ended. I hated everything about that game of football. I was so tense watching it because it could have went any way. It really could have. Hence why it's ended up in a draw, because it was pretty a mid-game for a neutral, to be fair, because it was end-to-end throughout. But honestly, I absolutely detest every second of that football match.
I mean, I think just before halftime as well, there was another shout for a penalty where I think it was Junior Firpong again jumps into the back of Wilson, nowhere near the ball, and goes down. For me, anywhere else on that pitch, that's a free kick and possibly a yellow card.
Yeah,
because he's not making any attempt to play the ball; he's just jumped into the back of him. So I don't know why that's not a penalty. Yeah, and VAR looked at it as well, and it's obviously wasn't clear and obvious enough, or whatever their excuses this week, but yeah, we go in 1-1, bit frustrating, but it's one of those. I think Leeds make a change at halftime. I think they make a change in the middle.
I think they bring. Who was it? No, was it Dallas that brought? No, Forshaw, Adam Forshaw. They brought on.
Forshaw comes on, and I think it was Greenwood who come off. So I probably like for swap. I don't know too much about that middle for Leeds, but the game restarts and we seem to have a bit more of a forefront in this one. We seem to be a bit more attacking. It appeared to be playing out like games of weeks just past, Chris, where we'll have a shaky or a shaky first half, and then we'll come out that second half all guns blazing, and you're just waiting for the goal. Unfortunately, it doesn't really come until we get the penalty shout. That again, very similar to the Brentford penalty. Player jumps, arm in the air, hits his hand, and yeah, it's given. Is that a penalty for you, Chris? There's a lot of debate whether he pushes the guy in the back, whether
all day long, mate. All day long. I think the reason VAR took so a while to decide was because we're looking at the build up to it. Then obviously, if Isaac had pushed him, it's a penalty all day long. Obviously, some of the Leeds fans, which I've seen reaction afterwards, saying it's not, saying that you can't clearly see him hit his fingers, but you 100% can. His fingers literally move.
I think that was Richard Keys. I don't think that's a Leeds fan. I think obviously
honestly,
without
you can see
the lack of hair on hands, you can't tell if fingers are moving or not without seeing it in the
It's
wind,
a stone waller, and honestly, if I'm a Leeds fan, I'm not kicking off the officials for that one. I'm kicking off at me player. Because why you jump with your hands in the air like that? It's happening far too often, and yes, you can say Isaac's got a slight push, but honestly,
it's a physical contact sport. Like you expect that.
Honestly, you're pushing that. Like if you think you're going to get that ruling the penalty out, that Isaac's little nudge, it's nothing, absolutely nothing in it. It's feeble. But all day long, it's a penalty, and I don't even. This is what I don't get about VAR. Right, they send the referee over. Right, why? Why
he's already said
why are you wasting everybody's time? Everybody knows it's a penalty. You know it's a penalty. Can we not just change it where you go and go, aye, mate, you got it wrong, it's a penalty.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they're questioning about whether we should give the player a second yellow and send him off. Possibly. Because for me, it is. I mean, you've handled the ball in the box. It's a yellow card all day. I think the fact that he got booked 3 minutes before that.
He should have got. He could have been sent off earlier.
About 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
It was one of those where I think had he have been sent off, and he probably rightly should have been sent off. That changes the end of the game.
Who was it? Royal
Junior.
Junior. He was the one that put the challenge in on Bruno, wasn't it?
Yeah. Where it was.
So it was like for that.
That was a stupid for me. He wasn't in control because he's on the stretch. He's both feet is off ground and it's above his ankle. So all three of those, yes, there wasn't a great deal of force, but all three of those are endangering opponents.
So the commentator said that the reason he's got away with it because his trailing leg hits the ground just before the challenge is made. He's flying, man. He's absolutely flying through the air there. And if the referee gives a red card, VAR don't overturn that. No. Not a chance. Don't overturn it. It's a red card for me. Might be a little bit harsh, but it's a red card. And
Yeah, so
while I'm
there's
talking about
two.
cards, keeper should have been sent off as well. So the referee books him.
100%. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Taking the absolute piss he is. Absolutely
Stand behind the
horrendous.
goal, isn't he?
Aye. So he's taking the piss. Trippier standing there as he does with the ball, keeping away from Wilson. So I think it might be Ailen that's still in the box at this point. So there's a bit of a kerfuffle going on there. Then the keeper comes out. The referee books him. He goes back to his goal. When the referee turns his back, he comes back out to Wilson, standing in his face. The referee goes back over, tells him to stop doing it. You've already warned him. You've given him the yellow card.
And then he does it again.
Some bollocks. Give him another one. Just send him off.
Yeah.
Bottled it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it would. I don't want to say it would be harsh, but it would be. It wouldn't be maybe the fairest way to get sent off. But he's constantly doing it.
He's warned him. He's warned him.
Yeah.
As of next season, they're changing the rules where goalkeepers just aren't allowed to do that whatsoever. They're not allowed to do anything. It's putting advantages towards strikers, so the keeper's not allowed to put them up by hitting the crossbar, touching the net, touching the post, whatever. They're just categorically not allowed to do it. Just send them off. Honestly, send them off.
It sets the precedent, doesn't it? But again, it's Wilson who steps up, and this time Iain hits it down the middle, sends the keeper the wrong way. Another nice penalty.
Yeah, nothing more to say than that. Again, it's a case of, I always find as well, even though like you're confident you'll score, because he's already scored a penalty, there's a lot of psychology about, right, where will I hit it? And there's a lot of mind games between the keeper and Wilson, especially with the delay as well. But again, he's in good form. He's a confident player, and he's done the job. 100%.
You bet your house on him, don't you?
Oh, 100%. I would say that it was quite a high pressure situation as well. But I completely agree with Chris there. They should have had, and I don't want to say like woe is us, and it's always against Newcastle. But if you're looking at the letter of the law and by what you've seen over the course of the season, Firpo could have easily went for his tackle. If he's got a yellow card, fair enough. That's a blatant handball. That's a yellow card. Navas has been not Navas. Sorry, Joe Robles has been booked and then continues to do so. Like Chris says, grows and balls, set a precedent, send them off. And like you say, it could lead to a different game, and I completely understand that. But then for me, those decisions have been made. They've gone. We can't change that. It's then putting the game beyond doubt with what has happened. And as I'm sure we'll get on to, we didn't look to do that, unfortunately. We couldn't do that.
We make some changes, Chris. Obviously, Miggy goes off, and so does Wilson. And he brings on Gordon and St. Maximum, who they've made a big impact. They do change the game up a little bit. Obviously, we then score a third goal, where it's Isak breaking and St. Maximum slotted home. But I think Gordon just holds on to that ball just a little bit too long to set Isak off, and it is offside. Although Tyndall and Howe seem to think otherwise. They're arguing something with the fourth official that the commentator's picking up, but I haven't seen any other angle other than what BT Sport have shown.
I think they're probably just not happy with how late the flag went up, but the linesman has done that well. He's done it perfectly.
That's how it's supposed to be, isn't it? As soon as the ball goes out of play, the linesman makes his decision.
Gordon, I'm screaming at the telly.
To release it.
He gets that ball, I'm screaming, just give him it, because you can see
he's in.
3 players on the attack, and he's through. He's absolutely all day long, clear as day, he's through. And I'm screaming at the TV, and as soon as he releases that, I'm thinking he's offside. But you can tell straight away he's well offside, not even close. He's well offside. And to be fair, they've done well. Isak obviously just waits till the last possible moment to pass that across to Maxi. Maxi just absolutely smashes that ball.
There's no need to hit it that hard, is there?
Smashes at it. And Maxi knows. Maxi knows as soon as he hits that ball, he doesn't celebrate. He looks straight back over, sees a flag up. I was so frustrated at Gordon in that instance.
Just jumping in on that. So I know this is going off on a tangent a little bit. I know that's the rule that they have to wait. But we know that's blatantly offside. You can see that. What's to say, and I know it's all ifs and buts, but what's to say the keeper comes out and tackles Isak and he breaks his ankle? That doesn't happen if he flags straight away. For me, that rule really, really annoys us, that they wait until the last possible minute. Especially when it's as blatant as that, but that's like I say, that's just another.
I think that's the thing, right?
You have to let it go. You have to.
You can put your flag up, but if you've got any doubt at all, you have to let the gameplay, so then VAR can take a look at it.
Mm.
But if Isak was stood a yard offside and he gets the ball, then the linesman can put his flag up and there's no problem. But I think it's when it's close, or if the linesman isn't in line with the defenders and he doesn't know, he has to let the game progress until either a shot is taken or until the play ends, basically.
Especially with such a clear, like a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
Honestly, imagine if he had a flag there and when Isak touches it, we're through. Then it gets taken back and he's not offside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see it both ways, but I just think it could potentially, sooner or later, that will happen.
Yeah.
But
against Sheffield Wednesday, wasn't it? Sheffield United, sorry.
Sheffield United, yeah.
But it's a thing, right? I mean, if it's not clear and obvious, then you should let it go, because what if? But we always say to the players, who you play at the whistle, the linesman should play to the game unless they're 100% confident, and it is blatant that something's going on. Not long after that, though, Chris, we seem to lose our head a little bit, and we start letting them get back into the game, and it inevitably leads to an equalizer from Leeds. Frustrating.
100%, mate. It's another deflected goal.
Yeah.
Like, how many times? Well, there was one just last week against Fabian Shaw. We had one in the cup final against Man United. We've had this one against Leeds. There's nothing anybody can do about that. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But
I've seen a lot of people say that Trippier should be preventing the corner to begin with, but if you watch it back,
he tries to knock it back
for the ball and it hits him. He doesn't know anything about it, and it does just go off him.
I think what he tries to do, is that not the one where he tries to play it back to Pope, and they've just completely misread it.
It's that one. It just goes slightly in front of them, and
he
expects Bamford to get it,
and it just hits off
goes
him
out for a corner.
I might be thinking of another one in the game, because there was one where he tried to just knock it back to Pope, and Pope just wasn't obviously aware of that. But Trippier does well. He blocks the first shot coming in. He blocks that with his shoulder, I believe it is. I'm sure it's his shoulder he hits. Then the next one, he just absolutely smashes that. And honestly, Pope's got it covered all day long. You can see him move to the right. But as he takes that step, he looks to his left, and you can see the ball's just going to tuck right into that corner. There's nothing which we can do about that. But the frustration lies with that. We've had chances throughout the game once again. And it's just that putting the ball in the back of the net, that's an issue, and that's all that it is. And like I said, at half time, the lads look knackered towards the end of the second half. These lads need this season to be wrapped up as soon as possible, because I'm scared now that we're going to pick up a couple of injuries. That's what worries me, because Bruno's not right, far from it. He looks slow at the minute, Bruno, and I know he likes to take his time, but he looks slow. He's making wrong decisions.
His standards,
he's making wrong decisions, and the commentators picked up on this as well, saying that he's not opening the doors like he normally does. There's a couple of moments where he created a couple of things, great passes, but there's some which are just massively overhit, and he needs this season to come to an end so he can get away, get that ankle looked at, and let the recovery commence, because honestly, we're knackered. Every single one knackered, and I think it's an unchanged back five really throughout the season. And you can tell now, like when it's come to the business end of the season, when other teams are starting to put a bit of form together, we're dropping our form. That's the worrying thing for me. And I wasn't nervous about Liverpool catching ourselves. I'm a little bit nervous now.
I think you're right about players being tired. I think Joe Willock looked very slow,
exhausted.
He looked like he was running treacle from 30, 40 minutes in, and he didn't seem to improve much. There's one more incident at the end of the game that we'll touch on. Obviously, Junior Firpo finally gets sent off. It's a tackle on Gordon, who seems through on goal. Takes his boot off him. Again, that's probably a straight red. If he's, I don't know if he's last man back or not, but
I think he is.
Hasn't even tried to get the ball. He's just took the player out. And given where it is at that point of the game and how the game is, I think it would all escalate into a straight red, to be fair. And I think he does get a straight red, actually. I don't think the
second yellow, mate. Second yellow.
It was the second
yellow. Did
yellow.
you show him the second yellow?
Yeah, second yellow.
Okay.
The camera's actually panned where the referee just shown a red, but it came up second booking again.
Okay. No worries. And then obviously we get a free kick on the very edge of the box, and it's not a penalty.
Not a great decision.
The tackle happens outside. But, and this is what I really want to touch on, it's another poor set piece. Trippier did one in the first half where he's passed it just straight.
Worst.
Yeah,
Worst free kick
literally
you'll ever see,
passed
and
it
then
to the
he's-
wall.
Yeah, and then this one, you know, I said in the group chat, put Isak on this. You just
Or
need someone
even
to
Share.
worry it.
I
Not
thought
even
Fabian was
Share.
going to smash it.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's far too close to goal for the type of free kick
It's
Kieran
around-
Trippier's really good
If-
Can't
at.
get
you
it
look
up
at the
and
angle-
up and under, can you? Or up and down.
well, if you look at the angle, because there's a player line on the deck, so you're not going to get under. It's probably a little bit too close to get it up and over. Saying that Trippier has done it before. It's around the wall that it looks like. It looks like there's a huge gap around the wall that he might, and that's what he tries to do because it just hits the edge of the wall, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And it's one of them. But you're right, Scott. We should be doing better from those positions for a set piece, 100%, especially with a player like Trippier on the field.
Well, I mean, it's been, I can't even remember how long it's been. Our free kicks and our corners have been honking. They've been absolutely honking for as long as we can remember at the minute.
There was a period in the season where we were so creative and we were like, it was literally every other game or whatever was scoring, not directly from putting a ball in, but just like the sort of the set play routine. Like it was very clever. We're trying things different all the time. And we were scoring. I think I'm sure there was a run, maybe it's about 3 or 4 games where it would score or do something very, very creative that would lead to a goal scoring opportunity. Now it's just a ball into the box. And with the height that we've got as well, the likes of Cher, Botman, Byrne, Isak, like we're not really threatening.
No.
And it's very frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of focus goes on the set piece taker, and rightfully so to some extent. But there are times where he's putting in good balls in the box from a set piece, and no one's attacking it. Or what we are attacking is coming.
This is why he's so high up on the chances created chart.
Yeah,
because he is doing it, but on the same breath, some of his set pieces have been absolutely diabolical. Some corners hitting the first man, and I hate to say it. I hate it when a corner hits our first man. But
when
like
they do a short
Ian
one,
said,
it just doesn't work.
Yeah, like Ian said, we've been trying new things, and we did at the start of the season, and we're working. We're still trying new things, but we're just not delivering on them. Because that one early in the first half, it was a new thing which we're trying. Because you could tell what he's trying to do. He's trying to just squeeze it between the wall and the player, so you could just run in and have a shot at goal. But he just completely timed it completely wrong.
Yeah, it was awful. There was one more incident I want to touch on, obviously off the field, but in the dugout, the Leeds fan getting into the technical area and getting hands on Callum Wilson. I don't want to put too much emphasis on this because it's something that we don't
Callum
see,
Wilson that he put?
No,
sorry,
Eddie Howe.
Did I say Callum Wilson? I meant Eddie Howe. I don't know why.
Imagine putting your hand on Callum Wilson. You would have got smashed.
Been smashed. You wouldn't need Triple H, would you?
Oh, man.
But the fact that it was able to happen in the first place, Chris, is quite a worry. The fact that he's able to stroll past the Leeds bench and past Sam Allardyce and get to Eddie Howe is, nothing on our security, because you really probably shouldn't need them to do that. But the fact that the stewards are in the ground and they're not doing anything and there's no one there, and the fact he got so close, he actually got hands on him, is a bit of a worry.
So Triple H has appeared on the bench a few times.
Yeah,
this season for us, he really has. Honestly, that bloke got absolutely pedigree to hell, didn't he? Like I'm telling you, like absolutely smashed the foot. Probably had a steel chest, smashed off his face as well.
Thrown off the top of the cage.
But was he wearing a Newcastle shirt? Because
he's got a suit on.
I don't know. It's like a jacket.
It's like a jacket. It's like a hoodie style jacket that he's got on. But when he got his arms up, when Triple H finally, Triple H was slow. I'll tell you what, he's slow.
He was.
We should make this a contest to see who can outrun Triple H for the rest of the season. But when he's got his arms up. It looks like he's wearing the anniversary kit, the black stripe ones.
All right.
The different shades of black. It looks like he's wearing that. I might be completely wrong. But
I mean, maybe they've put him in the staff training gear with the with the black with the grey spots on it, like the spotty stripes.
I don't think that much thought's gone into it, Scott.
but he's more like plain clothes, so people don't know his security. Is what I'm trying to get at. Like I'm talking about just trying to blend in.
That bloke,
the person that pushed Eddie Howe. Yeah. It looks. I was trying to figure out what top he had.
Mastermind going on.
I thought you were talking about Triple H having like
Triple H is casual Fridays.
Triple H is wearing a suit. Yeah, Triple H is wearing a suit.
But like I said, it's not something we like to see, and thankfully nothing bad happened. It was just player getting Eddie Howe's face. I think it probably shook Eddie Howe up a little bit. He's mentioned it in his conferences. there's been comments this morning on certain radio stations that, Eddie Howe hasn't got a right to complain given that he hasn't answered questions about our ownership, which I think is absolutely disgraceful.
What?
That was on TalkSport this morning. Yeah.
He hasn't got a right to complain.
He hasn't got a right to complain.
He's
that
not,
a member of the public has gone onto a football field, confronted him,
shouldn't be allowed to enter.
Anything on him.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe's not allowed to complain about that.
Yeah, because he's not commenting on Saudi Arabia's human rights record.
Who said that? Who was it on TalkSport?
I don't know who it was on TalkSport. I haven't heard the soundbite, but I've just seen people on Twitter reporting about it. So it's
honestly, pack of dicks. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be swearing, but
that was Pep Guardiola or even Arteta or Ten Hag.
Pack of
all over the
dicks.
news the next few months.
Sorry, Scott.
Right, I get it, right? I get the issue with the ownership. I get it. And I get why Eddie Howe is going to be criticised for not doing it. But to then turn that and say that he hasn't got a right
it's his fault
to have an opinion on somebody approaching him during a football match. Honestly, I hate this place, mate.
I agree with
Scott.
Scott.
The safest place for him, though. He should be
100%.
He should feel 100% safe there. Maybe a projectile getting thrown at him is the worst thing he should be worrying about. Not about.
Do you know what it is?
Run up to him.
My concern, if I'm Eddie Howe now, I'm sacking off Triple H and I'll probably get the Undertaker, because he didn't do his job very well. He was so slow.
Wait, when you were on about
got there quicker. Tyndall was there.
Yeah,
he got there quicker.
No surprise there, though. What? Just with you saying, you could have had anything. Can you not remember when Rose West chained himself to the goalpost and they went in the crowd and someone had a penknife? There was an Everton fan that had a pen.
I just handed it over.
Yeah, who's to say this bloke? I don't really get why he's so vexed with Eddie Howe. I don't know if Eddie Howe's his missus fancies Eddie Howe or something like that, and he's taken his divorce quite poorly. But I just don't get it. But like you say, it's not like he's wearing because media, people have the vests with media on, or
just a fan.
How he hasn't been spotted is absolutely
maybe it was words of encouragement from the fan. Maybe you went up to Eddie Howe, go, Eddie, you're the main man. Don't let Tyndall get in front of the cameras. You're the main man. He was doing that.
But at the end of the day, the fan has been arrested. I think Leeds have pretty much instantly given him a lifetime ban.
Police have charged him as assault as well.
That'll be every stadium, not just that one.
That'll be every stadium in football. Let's hope we can, that sets a precedent to other fans. I mean, it's kind of this unwritten thing of you don't do it because that's what will happen to you. But whenever it happens, the fact that it gets reported on, the fact that it's instantly happening, where these fans are getting banned, hopefully
there's always one dickhead that can't handle the beer, mate. Yeah,
well, that's the thing. It was a 12:30 kickoff. He's probably had too many beers and hadn't had his McDonald's before he got inside.
Brown ale on his porridge,
exactly. But we'll not end it on that sour note. Obviously, we do now have guaranteed Europa League football after that point. So every cloud has a silver lining. Obviously, we're still pushing for Champions League football. Kris, you've mentioned already you're a little bit nervous now about getting that. Are the next two games just must-wins? Oh, sorry, do we have to win 2 of the next 3? Because we do have 3 games remaining.
Just the longer it goes on, for me,
they're not must-wins
everyone more nervous.
Mm-hmm.
They're not must-wins yet. It would help massively. They're not must-win yet. I think, let's see, Liverpool play Monday night. Is that right?
Against Leicester,
yeah. Monday.
So let's see what happens here. Leicester are still fighting for the lives, yeah? Let's remember that. It's at Anfield. Is it at Anfield?
No.
Is it away?
No, I think it's away.
Is that King Power, right? So, let's see what happens Monday. Let's see what happens Monday, then ask us that question again on Tuesday morning, Scott. Then I'll tell you if it's a must-win.
No worries. Obviously, Ian, we know Liverpool are playing Leicester, but they also let Liverpool have to play Villa. And I think that is the game which we could actually get a favour off Villa. I think Villa could get a result from Liverpool. Maybe it's not win, but I don't think they'll lose. And I think that could be the decider one for us. And it's horrible that we're having to rely on other teams, another result.
I mean,
we're not, because it's still
in our hands.
We can still do this with 2 wins, but it would be nice, a nice cushion to be on if
I think
can drop points against Villa.
I think I looked at it this morning, and so I think if Villa win, I think we only need 2 points to guarantee, because obviously the maximum Liverpool can get. If it's a draw, I think it's 4 points. Looking at that, it makes us feel a little bit better, because I definitely think we've got, in that situation, I definitely think we'll pick up at least 2 or at least 4 points. But I'm the same with Chris. Like, I've been fairly optimistic and fairly positive that we'll do it. But it's now, the longer that it's going on, it's a case of you putting more pressure on the remaining games. I think this stage of the season is all about momentum. We're slightly dropping our momentum. And I just feel like the likes of Liverpool, as much as I still think we'll do it, they have players that have handled like high pressure situations throughout their careers, whereas we have a fairly inexperienced squad about handling those big moments. Arguably Trippier, I'd say that's it really in the squad, which makes us a little bit more nervous. I still think we'll do it, but we're making a little bit hard work of it.
It wouldn't be Newcastle United if we didn't. I mean, that's how we do things. You always got to have a little bit of doubt creeping in the back of your mind to be a Newcastle fan. We'll wrap it up there, boys. We'll be back this week with the All Smiling Faces podcast on Monday. I believe this is the week for Canny Chatter as well, so we'll have one of those recording. I'll speak to Roger, see if extra time's coming back. I think we'll at least get one in before the end of the season. And we'll also be back with a match preview for Brighton this week as well. If you like all of this content, if you've liked this video specifically, if you scroll down from this video that you're watching and hit the little thumbs up button, that gets this video in the feeds of like-minded fans, and probably also dropping some Leeds United fans as well. If you want to go one step further, you can hit the subscribe button, and that'll put us in your feed whenever we post new videos. And if you'd like to be notified when that happens, you can hit the notification bell. If you want to go one step further, we do have a membership program. It's $2.99 a month. That'll get you access to early access to pre-recorded videos, as well as access to the Telegram group. To sign up to that, if you scroll down from this video and hit the join button, that will get you access to the membership. And if you're listening to us on your podcast station of choice, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or whatever you like to listen to us on, please give us a 5-star rating. It really helps push us up the charts on those podcasts. But boys, thanks for this one. I'll let you all enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully the weather's quite nice where you guys are at the moment. And we will see you all in the next one. Thanks there. Bye, everyone.